Picture the temple in Jerusalem, massive white stones rising above the city. Wide courtyards stretching across the Temple Mount. Thousands of pilgrims moving through its gates every day. From a distance, it looks peaceful, sacred, holy. But step closer and the sound changes. Animals bleating. Coins clattering across wooden tables. Merchants shouting prices to travelers who have come from far away. The temple, the most sacred place in the Jewish world, has begun to sound more like a marketplace than a house of prayer. And on this particular morning, someone is about to walk into that marketplace. Someone who will not stay silent. His name is Jesus of Nazareth. Jerusalem during the great festivals is a city under pressure. Pilgrims arrive from every direction. From Galilee in the north, from the deserts of Judea, from distant provinces of the Roman Empire. Some travel for days, others for weeks. All of them come for the same reason: to worship at the temple. The temple is the heart of Jewish life. It is where sacrifices are offered, where prayers are spoken, where priests perform the ancient rituals commanded by the law. But for many travelers, worship begins with a problem, because the temple has rules. Animals brought for sacrifice must be perfect. No blemishes, no injuries, no flaws. A traveler might bring a lamb from his village, only to be told by temple inspectors that the animal is not acceptable, which means he must buy another one. And conveniently, animals are already being sold inside the temple courts. Money presents another problem. The Roman coins used across the empire are not allowed for temple offerings. Why? Because they carry images of the Roman emperor. To the Jewish priests, those images are a form of idolatry. So before entering the temple, pilgrims must exchange their money for special temple coins. And for that service, there are money changers, rows of wooden tables, stacks of silver coins, and fees added to every exchange. The system works very well, too well, because soon the outer courtyards of the temple begin filling with traders, merchants selling sheep, merchants selling goats, merchants selling doves, money changers counting coins, animals tied to wooden posts, cages stacked beside stone walls. The sacred courts echo with the sounds of business. And then, one morning, Jesus arrives. He has come to Jerusalem many times before, but this time, the crowds around him are larger. People have heard stories about miracles, stories about healings, stories about a teacher who speaks with unusual authority. Some believe he may be a prophet. Others whisper something even more dangerous. They wonder if he might be the Messiah. When Jesus enters the temple courts, he stops. For a moment, he simply watches. The noise, the bargaining, the animals, the coins sliding across wooden tables. The place meant for prayer now feels like a market street. And something inside him shifts. The Gospels tell us that Jesus does something unexpected. He begins making a whip. Not a weapon of war, but a cord made from ropes used to tie animals. The kind of rope already lying around the temple courtyard. The disciples watch him. They do not yet understand what he intends to do, but they can feel the tension building. Then suddenly, everything changes. Jesus steps forward into the center of the marketplace. And the first thing he does is drive the animals out. Sheep scatter across the courtyard. Cattle stumble away from their posts. Merchants shout in confusion as the animals begin rushing through the open space. The noise grows louder. People turn their heads. Crowds begin gathering, and then Jesus reaches the tables of the money changers. He grabs one and flips it. Coins explode across the stone floor. Silver pieces scatter in every direction. Another table falls, then another. Money changers scramble to gather their coins as the crowd gasps in shock. No one expected this. Not here. Not inside the temple. Then Jesus turns toward the merchants selling doves. The small birds sit inside wooden cages stacked along the walls. He points toward the cages. "Take these things away." His voice cuts through the chaos. "Take them away." This place was meant for God, not for business. The words echo across the courtyard. And for a moment, everything freezes. Because this is not just anger. This is something deeper. Jesus is challenging the entire system operating inside the temple. The disciples suddenly remember something. A line from the ancient scriptures. "Zeal for your house will consume me." They begin to realize what is happening. Jesus is not simply reacting to noisy merchants. He is confronting corruption. The temple was meant to be a place where people meet God. But now it has become a center of profit. And Jesus is exposing it. In public. In front of thousands of witnesses. The religious leaders arrive quickly. Temple authorities push their way through the crowd. They see overturned tables, coins scattered across the ground, animals running through the courtyards, merchants shouting in anger. And at the center of it all stands Jesus, calm, unmoved, watching the chaos settle around him. The leaders are furious, but they are also cautious, because the crowd is watching. And many in that crowd already admire this teacher from Galilee. So instead of arresting him immediately, they demand an explanation. "What sign can you show us to prove you have authority to do this?" In other words, who gave you the right to disrupt the temple? Who do you think you are? The question hangs in the air. Everyone waits for the answer. Jesus looks at them, and then he says something that no one fully understands in that moment. "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The leaders stare at him in disbelief. The temple has been under construction for decades. Some say 46 years. How could anyone rebuild it in 3 days? They assume Jesus is speaking about the building around them. But later, his followers will realize something different. Jesus was speaking about something else entirely. His own body. For now, the tension remains. The merchants are angry. The priests are suspicious. The crowd is divided. Some people cheer the boldness of Jesus. Others worry about what this confrontation might provoke. Because Jerusalem is not just a religious city, it is also a political one. Roman soldiers watch from the nearby fortress, and large crowds gathering around a controversial teacher can make the authorities very nervous. Yet despite the tension, one thing is clear. The cleansing of the temple has changed something. Jesus has publicly challenged the most powerful religious system in the nation, and the leaders will not forget it. From this moment forward, the conflict will only grow, because Jerusalem is now watching him more closely than ever. And the events of this day are only the beginning of a story that will soon lead to arrest, trial, and a moment that will echo through history.